The money, what's it for, Zach?
Well, we really want to expand the service to more areas. So we're building the best autonomous vehicle for our urban environment. So we're operating in Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Helsinki, Finland. We have a lot more cities coming up soon, but we want to build the best vehicle to move goods around cities to make it much cheaper for our customers and for merchants.
Okay, so is it all about US markets? Is there an international focus as well here?
Yeah, so in the US, we've been partnered with DoorDash and Uber Eats, and then we recently partnered with Wolt over in Helsinki. So we're live in Helsinki, Finland, and we have a lot more European markets coming up soon.
And what are some of the bottlenecks that you've seen thus far? Rolling these things out, I've seen them at plenty of conferences. I'm yet to get the deliveries here in New York. So is it government relations? Is it ultimately just making sure that they're fit for purpose in some of these more urban spaces?
Yeah, so at first we had to get the technology to work well enough where we can deliver goods to people at high quality. We're moving a lot of food and groceries today, right? Mm-hmm. So you're very time sensitive. It needs to get there on time or people won't use the robots. And then the second thing we need to do is get the cost to be lower than the cost of a human driver, or it doesn't make any sense, right? So we got the technology to that place. We did that first in Los Angeles. Now we're scaling up as fast as we can to get this service to more and more people. The government relations side of this has actually been going really well. We have a really good relationship with the cities we work with. Half the states in the country have passed legislation to allow this sort of vehicle to operate. And I think we're seeing a big trend in Europe to adopt this as well. There's typically not enough drivers to do the deliveries that exist today, and it's incredibly expensive. So we're able to make it more available to people, make it much more affordable, and that usually aligns with the goals of our cities.
And just walk us through the process, Zach. Those who haven't been lucky enough to have their ice cream delivered via Coco Robotics, what is it? How do they get contacted when they're up in their high rise?
Yeah, so if you order on Uber Eats or DoorDash, you'll have the option to opt in to an autonomous vehicle. If you opt in, it's usually a lower cost to you. There's no tipping involved. So most people do opt in. If you're in a high rise, you can choose, I don't want a robot. I want someone to come and bring it up to my door. But I think we're seeing that happen less and less. And I think the human delivery experience can also be a bit inconsistent. Maybe they'll bring it up to your door. Maybe they'll leave it in the lobby. Maybe they'll leave it on the curbside. So one of the benefits of using our autonomous vehicles is they will be parked in front of your store. They'll be waiting patiently, in front of your building. They'll be waiting patiently for you to come down and retrieve your order. It's locked. It's insulated. The food is packaged and preserved in the best possible way for you. And we'll wait for you to be ready. So once you're ready, you come down, you click a button in the app, the lid will open, and you get your goods.
What's interesting is, sadly, we've heard over the course of some moments of protest, people taking out their anger on driverless cars, for example, over in LA. Have you seen any implication on your own robotics? How do people treat them out there in the wild?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just saw this video that was going around TikTok where the robot was driving through a protest. We worked with the city to geofence off some areas where we shouldn't operate because there's an active protest. But they're popping up and moving all around the city, so it's hard to be super precise. But what ended up happening is everyone made a tunnel, a path, and started chanting Coco and let the robot through, which I thought was quite nice and somewhat unexpected. But I think people have a lot of affinity towards these. I mean, we called it Coco on purpose. We looked up a list of cute dog names. It was number one on the list. So I think on one end, I think people have some affinity towards them. And on the other hand, people realize it's delivering their local businesses and their neighbors, dinner for their family. So I do think people are actually quite respectful of the vehicle and making sure that they're not disrupting, their neighbors. It really is a community product.
Zach, at the moment, the competition, I'm sure, is a gig worker and a car and a delivery. But how many robotics competitors are starting to pop up? And is that a good thing for the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think the timing's really interesting right now, right? We've been doing this for about 5 years. A few things have happened in the world. You have AI clearly has become extremely capable. You first had ChatGPT. Now you have kind of AI everywhere in all of your products, all big tech's talking about it. You have Waymos you see on the road all the time now. So I think autonomous vehicles and AI and how that goes into the physical world has become very real for businesses, for investors, for analysts covering some of these stocks, and for consumers. So consumers are starting to demand these services be integrated more and more. At the same time, the cost of delivery has continued to go up and up and up. So you have kind of this macro where these brands and businesses are concerned about consumer spending and what or how much
Right.
more cost they can tolerate on delivery, and then you have this other thing of AI that's seeming to clearly work and do useful things. So I think that's caused this to be the right time, and we have seemingly unlimited demand for the product, and we're just trying to ramp up production as fast as possible and get this out into the
Very
world.
briefly, Zach, you must have unlimited demand for data to feed in to the underlying large language model or whatever you're using to power this. Where are you getting it from?
So we've done millions of miles of deliveries. We've done over 500,000 deliveries, and those are deliveries happening in the most chaotic parts of the world, right? So this is Chicago, this is downtown LA and Hollywood, this is Helsinki covered in snow. It's Miami with hurricane winds going and rain. And not only do we have video data of the robots navigating these situations, we have our remote operators who can come in during a delivery, take over for the autonomy, take over for the AI, and actually correct it and explain for it what to do. So that's a very rich data set to train the system. And it has to work really well because, again, we're moving food. So
Yeah.
if you have autonomy that works kind of well, but it delays the trip by 20 minutes, it's not useful.